Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome in. It is a happy Wednesday evening, happy summer Wednesday evening. You're probably thinking to yourself, what in the heck is going on here? We look different. But it is SEC After Dark, ladies and gentlemen. Joining me is my man Jake Thomas and Stacy Blackwood, 100% of Tide Talk Live. We've got a Tide invasion. The Tide has rolled in. And it couldn't be better, man. How you guys doing, dude? It's summer. It's hot as hell. Let's go, man.
Yeah, man, it's great. Yeah, it's great. Great week. Been a great week, and just glad to be here tonight, Corey and Stacey. Glad to have you on, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Man, I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you guys having me. And you talk about it being hot, man. My son played in the state All-Star tournament last weekend, and it was about 105 degrees. So for 3 or 4 straight days, just standing in the sun, I mean, you can kind of tell I got a little bit of a tan on my face now. And it's been hot, but hey, I'm excited that the college football season is really close, guys. If you think about it, I know I've been doing a countdown on Roll Tide Wire. It's 72 days now from Alabama football's kickoff on August 31st. So it's right around the corner.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, you know what else is right around the corner? Well, a couple of clicks and you're into some really, really cool socks. DeadSoxy.com has everything you need, from Ole Miss socks to, if you just want some random cool looking socks and want to up your sock game, they have anything that you want, and you're supporting Ole Miss NIL as well. DeadSoxy.com. What you need to do is join as a member. You get 25% discount and free shipping on all orders. So if you want to up your sock game and you want to stay socksy, you want to stay looking socksy, Dead Soxy is the place to go. So visit them, deadsoxy.com, and always stay socksy. Also, Jake, Stacy, if we make any picks, which I don't think we're going to make any picks, but if we did tonight, the lines are presented by betonline.ag. Stacy, when we do our pick segment, you better be in the chat making your picks, or get your butt on the spreadsheet, and I will speak for you, or one of us will speak for you in your picks. So you're in the pick segment next year, whether you're in the chat, whether you're pinch hitting for Jeb or Jake or myself or Steve, whatever the case may be, you're in the picks next year. You know that, right?
I'm in. I'm ready.
You're in.
Yeah. We got to get on the spreadsheet.
Yep, we're going to get you on the spreadsheet. That's no problem. But betonline.ag. If you wanted to bet on the NBA Finals, too late. But the NHL, I think, is still going on, and you better hurry on that too, because Florida's about to wrap that series. But there's always Major League Baseball, which, if you want to ask me how to bet Major League Baseball, I couldn't tell you, man. I couldn't tell you. I would say do the live odds and bet in like the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and just nickel and dime it for the summer, and just kind of build your bankroll up a little bit. That's kind of how I would probably approach that, but that's probably why I'm not a betting expert. So anyway, betonline.ag has everything you need if you want to bet it. You want to put some futures out there. Like I put a future on Vandy minus 2.5 wins for 2024. I think that's a slam dunk, because I think they're going to win 3 games right off the bat. And they'll hit that bet easily. So I think that's a solid bet. Georgia is minus 10.5 on win total. I think Bama's 9.5 or 10.5, somewhere in that ballpark. So that'll be interesting. So betonline.ag, if you want to make some bets, it's where the game starts. And last and certainly not least, you pickle lovers, are you ready for some pickles?
Mm-hmm.
This is where you guys say yes.
Absolutely.
Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, that is. And please remember, this is just a prop now because I didn't refrigerate it. But make sure you refrigerate after you break the seal. They have every vegetable you could ever think of in a really sweet Cajun dill mix. It's got a nice little Cajun kick to it. It's amazing. I didn't think I'd ever like pickles. I still don't really like pickles, but if I had to eat pickles, I would eat Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles. But they have other vegetables that I love, like green beans, carrots, asparagus, all kind of things. So I can avoid the pickles and eat the other stuff and be perfectly fine. So they have something that the point of that is, Jake, everyone has something that, or Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles has something that everyone can enjoy.
Right.
So whatever Steve has said in the past, that's where you need to get them. all across the deep Southeast.
Sal's favorite pickles.
All I know is Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles is the South's greatest pickle. So Stewart, if you are listening, drop a comment and let us know where you can get them. I'm sure they have a website. Google Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickle, and you can kind of find it. And they're in some select supermarkets around Mississippi and Louisiana. So, guys, great to be here. Even though Steve and Jeb are on vacation, woohoo. The show must go on. So I think we're going to be on I think you're going to be stuck with us for the next 2 weeks, right? Tonight and next week, right?
Yeah, I think we're going on break the 4th.
Yeah, we're going to we're going to punt on July 4th, take a break, and then crank it back up for real for the rest of the season. We'll probably take a couple of breaks around Christmas time, but Les Miles, guys. I think he just wanted his name in the news, but he is suing LSU for vacating wins. That's going to keep him out of the College Football Hall of Fame. I didn't know he was really even up for it.
Yeah,
I think your boys in 2011 kind of ruined that for him a little bit, didn't they?
That's actually a great point to start with. You talk about. And we kind of talked about before we went live about how it's kind of a dumb rule that the win percentage is such a heavy it's so heavily weighed into whether a coach is eligible or not for the College Football Hall of Fame, because that's leaving guys like Mike Leach out of it, who I believe should be in simply because he revolutionized the game of football, especially offensively. But on Les Miles, he does have the one national championship in, was it 2007 with LSU? So I think maybe you could look at that and say, yeah, he could be in there, but I'm kind of with you, Corey. I'm not sure even with those wins that were vacated that he's a Hall of Fame worthy coach.
No, I don't think so. I've never thought that. I mean, I've always thought he was a really good coach, but like he was the beneficiary of, like, when Nick Saban was at LSU, he upped the recruiting there, and it's hard not to, like, a school like LSU in a talent-rich state like Louisiana. You're right next door to Texas. You're right next door to Mississippi. You can dip into Arkansas a little bit, and you can dip over into the Panhandle of Florida and into the state of Florida for some talent. I mean, you're in a really embedded in a talent-rich area in the best conference in all of college football. It's super easy to recruit there. He didn't really have. I mean, Ed Orgeron recruited well there. Les Miles recruited well there. Nick Saban recruited well there. And it just took a little bit of effort to kind of, when Nick Saban took over to kind of, but they've always had great players. They've just never been able to kind of put it together until Nick Saban got there. But I never thought he was elite. I thought he was good. I mean, he was always competitive. He was always in the mix. He was always whatever, but like I don't think he was around long enough to take the Mark Richt route where, you win so many games and you have Georgia in the national conversation so many times that, well, that's Hall of Fame worthy because he did it over a stretch of 15 years. I think he only had one losing season in that 15-year stretch at Georgia. And then I think he even had a winning season at Miami too. So, and his time as a coordinator at Florida State also was very, very good. He had 2 Heisman Trophy winners and 2 SEC championships. And I mean, he had a really good run. Les Miles didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he did have one national championship. I will give him that. He did have a natty. He did have another appearance in the national championship. But he got shut down. I don't think they crossed the 50 in that one, did they? The one that they lost?
Like late in the game, I think, was all.
They did late in the fourth quarter. In the very next play, I think Dante Hightower caused a sack fumble. So
yeah,
it was over pretty quick.
He has a tendency to do that.
But you both made great points because Les Miles, is a guy that you think, oh yeah, he needs to be a Hall of Fame. Nothing ever, felt like he should be in the Hall of Fame, in the College Football Hall of Fame. There's nothing flashy about him. I feel like that he deserves it.
Well, that's it. It kind of. I think this is why I think Mike Leach is a good, like, kind of an example to kind of go against Les Miles. They probably, I don't know what career wins are, but I imagine it's probably relatively close. Mike Leach probably has more wins, really, but I bet Les Miles has a better winning percentage.
Mm-hmm.
But Les Miles, like you guys are kind of alluding to, he didn't really do anything special. You didn't look at Les Miles and say, maybe he hadn't just won a bunch of national championships or a lot of 11 win seasons or anything, but he did do this. He did this offensively or defensively, or he kind of changed the game in this way. But you can make that argument for Leach. So
Right.
I'm with you guys. I'm not sure. The question really isn't about the Les Miles suing LSU. It's really about does he even really deserve to be in there? And also, I'll point this out, like we talked about before we went live.
Well, that'll make his case.
Yeah, it's dumb that you have to have a certain win percentage to. I understand you need to have a good win-loss record, no doubt about it, for a coach to get in. But to kind of have that, I think it's either 650 or 680 win percentage. I think there needs to be some stipulations around that. It shouldn't just be a set number for a coach to be able to get into the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's resumes and ballots and things like that, and people voting. I'm sure that
We're tired, Tristan.
It's one of those things where I think you're right, Stacy. There needs to be a little more subjective intervention here with the numbers because there should, like, Major League Baseball doesn't have baseline numbers. You just know.
Mm-hmm.
You just know. You just look at a coach and you look at the win percentages. You look at where they've been. And you just know. You look at a hitter. You just know. You look at a pitcher, and you just know. Like Greg Maddux, like there was never a doubt.
No.
Watching him pitch, there was never a doubt. Guys like that. And same should be for coaching. Same should be for players. Like there's just no. I mean, there's no set number. Like, well, you need to have 50 career sacks to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. Like, no. Like you're gonna. Let's say like that's the number, and Derek Thomas has like 42 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you watch Derek Thomas play, and you just know, like
Right.
like you watch Reggie White play, and like there is zero doubt, even though he might not meet the statistical threshold.
Right. What was his impact on the sport? That's
you just know that should be a factor. And if they're close, like if Mike Leach had like a 30% win percentage and just had some really good years here and there at some really bad programs, like if you're like way off, then sure. But you're close. Let's go ahead and push that needle there. Like Paul Johnson, is he in? He should be.
Yeah, I mean, he ought to.
I think he should be.
Yeah,
he should be because of his time at Georgia Southern. He won 2 national championships at Georgia Southern.
Yes,
and he did something that changed the game.
Yeah,
with the triple option.
A good friend of mine played for him at Georgia Southern.
Well, and here's another thing. I think, like especially like with Paul Johnson, Mike Leach, what they did to the sport transcended wins and losses.
Right.
Like it wasn't just about the wins and losses. It was about how they just kind of changed the game of football and the way he was able to have success. Even, he had some success at the Power 5 level at Georgia Tech. I mean, they made the Orange Bowl, I believe, or, I mean, they won the ACC. I mean, this guy got it done differently than anybody else at the Power 5 level. Mm-hmm. So if he's not in, he should be in. And Mike Leach, same thing. He changed the game offensively. And I think there's a lot of smart people that vote on the College Football Hall of Fame. How about let's not handcuff these guys who know the game by putting these ridiculous stipulations on what it takes to get in and say, hey, you know what? This guy changed the game of football. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, if you put Les Miles and Mike Leach together, side by side, Les Miles, yes, has a better coaching resume. If you just look at wins and losses, big games, things like that, he has a better coaching resume, both with his time at Oklahoma State and LSU, right?
Right.
But here's the thing that I would say puts Mike Leach above him is the innovation and development of spread football, air raid spread football, and the thousands of offshoots of the air raid scheme were derived from Mike Leach, which Mike Leach took Lavelle Edwards' philosophy and scheme, and he molded it into his own and released it into the world of college football, and it's changed the way college football is being played right now. And
No doubt about it.
it's even leaked its way into the NFL.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And for that's innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And
that is Hall of Fame worthy.
And Mike Leach's play calling card was about that big.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, it was literally a sheet of like, those little pads that you journalist pads. They're like, I don't know how you journalists write on that stuff, but I can't. My sausage fingers, I can't do it. But he would rip. It looked like he just ripped out a page of that and just was like, he would hold it with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
Yep. Lincoln Riley, like I thought it was a big deal when I saw Lincoln Riley's play card, and it was like a big index card.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a big deal. But the funniest is when you see these coaches with these massive poster boards with like size 4 font.
Yeah.
There's a famous shot of. Do you guys know who Ben McAdoo is?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the NFL.
NFL. Yeah, he's kicking around as an assistant now, but he was the head coach of the Giants at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot of him, and the Giants are just getting seal clubbed, right? And he's over there on the sideline. He's got these like 11 by 17 sheets. He's got 4 of them binder clipped, and it's just like everywhere. Like he's like, he can't see over it. He just looks completely intimidated by his play sheet. And I think there's a picture of Eli Manning standing next to him going like,
yeah,
and I thought of that. I was like, why do you need all that? Like you do
so football's not that complicated.
No, when I had a play sheet, I had a spreadsheet. It was an 8.5 by 11 landscape Excel spreadsheet. I just had everything listed just in case I just needed to look down every once in a while. You know how many times I look down at it? A game?
Probably minimal.
3 times. 3 times a game. I would look at my play sheet and call a play off my play sheet. There was one year where we did wristband, so I had to like look down and give the wristband number. That's the only reason I looked at it to communicate to the quarterback, hey, wristband 24. And he'd look at his wristbands, play 24, right? That's the only reason I'd ever look at my play sheet. Otherwise, it's in my back pocket, and I'm just calling. Instinct, right?
Yeah.
And then between series, I'm just kind of looking at it going, okay, this sucked. This didn't suck. That sucked. Okay. And then I put it back in my back pocket. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the headset. I'm talking to the other guys. I'm like, all right, what do you guys like? Here's what I want to set up. Here's first 3 plays of the series. Here's what I'm kind of going with. If, thens, stuff like that. Like you can't call plays if you don't feel the game.
Mm-hmm. The best coordinators have a feel for the game. I mean, it's just like Kiffin and Sark. The reason they're so good is because they just have that feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Paul Johnson had that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Paul Johnson had that. I think Will Hall had that at Tulane. I think Willie Fritz has that. Obviously, passed that to Will Hall. I think there's a lot of guys. I think Lincoln Riley had that as a play caller. I don't think he's much of a head coach because I think he's really good at singular focused thing. Right. I think he neglects defense too much. But, I think Justin Wilcox on the defensive side of the ball is as good as they come. Dave Aranda is as good as they come. Kirby Smart, Clark Lee, as far as calling defenses. There's this guy named Nick Saban. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
I heard he's really good.
In passing.
Yeah, in passing. Yeah.
He's pretty good. There's a lot of great coordinators out there that and the thing you notice about all of them is they feel the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, Muschamp, I thought was a good coordinator, defense coordinator, but not as a head coach.
I just think he's too crazy to be a head coach.
Yeah.
And he was even a little crazy sometimes to be a court. I think some of his worst games were when he was too amped up and he couldn't think clearly.
Yeah. Right.
I think to be a play caller, you got to have a little bit of calmness to you.
Yeah, it's all you have to have that next play mentality because as the coordinator, because if not, that's going to carry over to your team, and that's not good.
Let your assistants do the ass chewing on game day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you do the ass chewing on Monday.
Yeah.
In the film room. Right. You got to think of the next play as a coordinator. You don't have time. You just gotta get it when you get it. So that being said, innovation, I think, has to, in college football, has to be a major factor, because like that's kind of an equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So like Chris Kleiman should be, when he retires, if he wins any sort of conference title at Kansas State, I think that should get him in.
Well, he did. He did year before last. Remember, beating TCU in the Big 12.
Oh yeah,
that's right. So he should be in.
He ought to be in.
And what he did at North Dakota State.
Yeah, I agree. The truth is, you can make the argument that he potentially a top 5 coach in college football right now. I mean, I think that's certainly an argument.
Mm-hmm. I really like him. I think if he just Kansas State's just such a hard program.
It's so hard to win. I mean,
it's hard to win there, but I think Lance Leipold is really good at Kansas.
Yeah.
I think the state of Kansas has 2 really good programs there. I really like, not to go Big 12 after dark here, but that's going to be kind of a sporty conference a little bit.
Yeah.
Without Texas and Oklahoma, I think you're going to see some. I think you're going to see Utah emerge. I think my prediction is Utah is going to be the king of that conference.
Well, I was fixing to ask you, who the heck wins that conference? My gut tells me Utah, but man, there's literally like 6 or 8 teams that could.
Yeah,
Utah, Kansas State, Iowa State. I think Tech is a dark horse. Texas Tech is a dark horse.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Baylor, if they get in the 21st century in offense, I think they have a chance. Their offense is their offense, if not for Iowa, would have been the worst in college football.
Oh my gosh.
UCF is sneaky with Gus Malzahn. I mean, they've got some talent coming back, and they've recruited fairly well the last couple cycles. So
Houston's always not bad.
Yep.
They're always kind of fall apart towards the end of the year, but like that's going to be like, and we say that because like that's a conference that's going to get an automatic bid.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
right.
You as far as the context of playoff, you got to kind of look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, but let's look at some big games, shall we?
I'm ready.
I pretty much just said Georgia schedules all the big games. So but no, but for real though, like Georgia, Alabama is a big one. Houston's always sneaky, Jeremy. They're a contender. I didn't say they're going to win the conference. They're not going to win the conference. They're just good. They're feisty. They're Okie State.
I just don't trust them. I just don't trust.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, Jeremy. I still think. I think it's going to be Utah and Kansas State. If gun to my head, you got to pick 2 teams that are the top 2 contenders: Kansas State, Utah, and then you have your Okie State, and then call me crazy, but Kansas.
Yeah, I like Kansas.
I think Arizona's going to be sporty. I think Houston's going to be sporty. UCF's going to be sporty. These are all some sleeper teams out there in the Big 12. But I think Alabama, Oklahoma is going to be a phenomenal game. Going back to our topic there, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Georgia, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama. Alabama, Tennessee. Like, what are some big games that stand out to you guys? I mean, those are the obvious ones, right?
Alabama, LSU.
That's always a big one.
I mean, this is kind of weird, but Oklahoma and Texas in their first matchup as SEC foes, just kind of, it's just different now. I mean, it's the whole conference is different now. It's just strange that it's so weird. I'm ready for it, but it's going to take some getting used to.
It's going to be weird seeing the Cotton Bowl and seeing SEC planted on it. That's going to be strange. I'm going to love it. That's going to be strange. But yeah, that's a huge game. I think when does Texas play? Texas plays Arkansas this year, right?
Yes, in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a cool one.
That's going to be a cool game. That's going to be a big game too. Like Arkansas, they're sneaky.
I agree. I agree, because this is a must-win year for Sam Pittman. He's got to show up this season. I think they got a sneaky good quarterback in the Boise State transfer. I think he's going to be look. I liked KJ Jefferson, but I think he was limited at what he could do in the passing game.
Yep.
I think they'll be better in the passing game this year. Surely to God, that offensive line will be better than it was last year, which was just atrocious. So I do think that Arkansas and for once their schedule is about as light as you can hope for in terms of an SEC schedule. You know, they usually kind of get railroaded by SEC teams on the schedule, but I think it kind of works out pretty decent for them this year. You know, relative to some of the seasons they've had in the past.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's they're going to be sneaky, like you said. I mean, those are all good points there. What do we think of Missouri?
Oh man, we actually talked about this on our last show, Corey.
That's a tough one to call.
I think they're not going to be near as good as what their record indicates. If you look at their schedule, I mean, their non-conference slate is a complete joke.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
I mean, Missouri's non-conference slate, their toughest non-conference game is Boston College.
Yeah.
Their first conference game is a home game against
Vandy.
Yeah, that's not going to be easy.
No.
Look at this, dude. I bought this today at Walgreens. A Lindy's. Look at
are they out already?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Look at what's on the headline right here. Look.
Wow.
Right here. Look right there.
It says Vandy
Vibes Doors Revival.
Huh.
So people are recognizing a little bit.
I'm a believer in.
Shout out to Locked On Vandy.
There you go. I'm a believer in Clark Lea, and I think the way he attacked the transfer portal this offseason, think about this and just kind of the grand scheme of things. Vandy has done a better job in the transfer portal than a program like Clemson has done in the transfer portal. Think about that.
Yeah, because they actually tried.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't understand, and that's a totally different subject. But it's just I'm really. I think if you're a Vandy fan, you have to be pleased with what he's done with as far as roster management goes, and bringing in some talent, and just giving that team a chance to win.
Right.
Yeah, they have a chance to win. They haven't built the depth yet. So like them being able to survive this grueling schedule remains to be seen. I think that's probably the biggest question mark because they have talent stacked up now. They have really good corners. Their safeties are really good now with what they've gotten in the transfer portal. They have some really good talented freshmen coming in on defense. They really hit the freshman high school recruiting hard on the defensive side of the ball. All the receivers they brought in went from being a non-factor to now they might have to say, whoa, wait a second, like maybe we're not going to take the air out of the football and run it. Maybe we can throw a little bit. We have some talented receivers now. And then they've got a couple in the pipeline in this year's recruiting class too. So they're doing things a lot differently there. When I say they've overhauled, they have overhauled everything. Everything. And by doing that, I think recruits are starting to notice. I think other coaches will probably start to notice. And if Vandy doesn't win big this year, it won't be because of lack of talent. It will be because there's some injuries and the depth is just still not there yet.
Corey, we both got our moms on. We gotta get Miss Burton on here one night.
Shoot, she ain't gonna know how to. I'm gonna spend half the show just trying to get her to log on.
What is a YouTube?
Yeah.
What is a computer?
Yeah.
Like Jake, I'm old enough to where like my mom doesn't really know what that stuff is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm old enough to where my mom is very not tech savvy. So.
Hey, another big game that we didn't talk about: Texas at Texas A&M.
Oh yes.
Oh, it's back.
It's back.
I remember watching that game as a kid, and I'm so glad that game is back. That's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be rowdy in the
Kyle Field.
Oh
man,
gosh,
so much fun.
Whoop!
Whatever that is.
Right now, yeah.
I cannot wait for the Yell leader midnight Yell trash talk for that one.
Oh,
Mhm.
good night.
Because those are, like you cringe every time you watch that one.
Oh,
I can't even watch him. I can't watch him.
I think they based the character Brick Tamlin off of that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Where did Texas get their uniforms? At the
Yeah.
toilet store.
Yeah.
Gig 'em.
I'll tell you another big game. Well, actually, several big games, and that is the whole entire schedule for Florida.
Good
Every
Lord.
one of their games are going to be
Somebody
big.
hates them. Good
Yeah.
Lord. Ooh.
Look, and I mean, I do think that Florida will be improved this year, but their record is likely not going to indicate that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to reach a point where they just fall off a cliff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a few games where they just get horse kicked in, and then that's going to just going to crumble everything. It's built on a house of cards there, I think.
Yeah.
And they're good. They're better. They're improved. They're going to play hard for a little while, but you can only take ass kicking so much before you kind of fall apart.
The first half of their season is so critical. They have to have a good starter. It's not going to be good.
If they want to go to a bowl, they have to start 6-1.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, for sure.
And they've got Central Florida. They've got Miami.
Yeah, I mean they got Miami and Texas A&M 2 out of the first 3 weeks of the year. So, I mean, we're going to find out how improved they are and how serious they could possibly be about making a bowl game. And by the way, whoever decided to play Florida and Miami at 2:30 on August 31st in Gainesville, Florida,
God,
I mean, are you kidding me?
that is going to be.
The Gatorade's going to have their work cut out for them on that one.
Yeah.
The heat. I bet the field temperature will be about 130 during that game.
ACAS.
Oh, it'll be brutal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's gonna
be awful.
They're going to, oh my God, dude. I don't envy that.
No. Why would anybody pay money to go to that game?
It's going to be miserable. I mean, absolutely miserable.
There's not going to be any Miami fans there because those people don't exist. But
I've never once ran into a Miami fan.
So if Miami is up late in the game, do you think they'll kneel on the ball?
Probably.
Surely he has learned his lesson.
I hope so.
They compared Rory McIlroy this weekend to the kneel.
Oh, by the way, was that not a fantastic final round?
It was.
I was on the lake. I was on Center Hill Lake, so I did not see that final round.
Oh my God, y'all! That bunker shot, because I was pulling for DeChambeau. I don't know, like I've started watching his YouTube channel, and like
he has improved his self image. I'll give him that because he used to just be a total.
Oh yeah, I didn't like him before. I started watching his YouTube channel like 3 months ago, and you can tell he's kind of changed a little bit. And I was pulling for him, but I thought Roy was going to get it for a while, and then he choked on that putt. Then I thought, God, DeChambeau's choking here on 18 with hitting it by the tree root. Then he hits it into the bunker, a 50-yard impossible bunker shot, and he puts it within just a few feet of the hole to save par and win. That was that last hour of that tournament was must-see television.
Yeah.
When's the last time we said that about a PGA Tour?
Well, and I seen where it's like it's the most watched U.S. Open final round U.S. Open since like 2015 or something like that.
The Masters is always like that though, Jake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I watch the Masters religiously.
Open Championship is hit or miss because either somebody there's no like in between. There's no like battle really. Every once in a while there is, but for the most part, somebody always pulls away early, and like somebody always pulls away.
And literally within like probably the last 6 holes of that tournament, there was about 4 or 5 guys that were right there within striking distance of DeChambeau and Roy. So that was an incredible final round.
You might see them, and I think it's next year they're doing the International Cup or the Ryder Cup. You may see both of them, opposites and playing against each other.
You would definitely see them playing against each other. I think DeChambeau is definitely on the Ryder Cup team now.
Yeah, I think so.
And now that this whole live PGA thing has kind of died a little bit, you'll see DeChambeau there. You'll see Brooks Koepka there. You'll see Justin Thomas because he just for some reason he's just always in the Ryder Cup, even though he probably doesn't deserve to be.
Not right now. He's
No,
playing
they don't.
horrible.
If Scotty, well, he played horrible last year and he made the Ryder Cup team. So
Yeah.
if Scotty Scheffler can stay out of handcuffs,
Yeah.
did you see that? I don't know. It might have been real. I don't know if it was real or if it was a meme, but like they showed the Pinehurst, North Carolina Police Department having their meeting before the tournament, and they had Scotty Scheffler on the projector.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
They said, "This is the number one player in the world. Do not arrest him."
Oh my gosh, that's good.
It had to be fake, but it was still funny.
Well, I'm happy that the Ryder Cup is actually going to be played in New York in the States this year, because the U.S. has not won overseas since like 1990.
Bethpage,
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I
usually
think
they
you're right. Mhm.
or Shinnecock.
Yeah.
Where's Shinnecock?
No, it's Bethpage Black Course in New York.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, the world's most difficult public course.
Hey, another really good game, which is fairly early in the season. September 21st, Tennessee at Oklahoma. That's the first SEC game for Oklahoma. Josh Heupel going back to his alma mater to play or to coach in a game against his former team. That should be really fun and a really good early test for both teams.
Nico, well, what do we think of Nico?
I mean, I think he's a stud. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, and Heupel seems to know what he's doing with quarterbacks. I mean, I think he got the most he could out of what's the dude last year? His name just escaped me.
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton. I think he got the most you can get out of him. I mean, we saw what he did with Hendon Hooker. So I think he's obviously knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. I think Nico's really talented. But they did lose their top two backs, I believe. So I think that's going to be a difference for them, because I think their running game was a really underrated aspect of their offense. It really set up what they did, on second and third down.
They hit some big plays too. Like
yes,
in the Georgia game last year, they housed it.
Their running game, it was something that a lot of teams overlooked. I think so. It depends on what that running game looks like and how that offensive line plays. I think their defense will probably be, about what it was last year, but I still don't see Tennessee being much of a contender to win, to play for SEC championship. Right. They'll be close, but I don't think they're good enough to beat the top dogs. No pun intended.
Right.
Pun definitely welcomed. If y'all play Wisconsin?
Yeah, at Wisconsin. Yeah.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so fun, dude.
Yeah.
Jump around. One of my best friends, one of my best good friends, Matthew Perkins. Shout out to Believe in Badgers. Y'all I'll hook you guys up with him so you can do a crossover.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because him and Matt Bernstein, the Hebrew Hammer himself. He's a Wisconsin legend, by the way, Matt Bernstein.
That'd be great. I'd love to do that.
Absolutely.
Is it the third game of the year, Jake?
Yes, I think you're right, Stace. Yeah, because we got Western Kentucky, South Florida, and then Wisconsin.
Then at Wisconsin,
Camp Randall. I've never been, but everything that I've seen, that I've heard from Matt, and then things that I've seen on TV, if you get a chance to go to that, you might want to take that chance.
That is a long trip.
It is.
I need to see if the Packers are playing that weekend at home, because my son randomly is obsessed with the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, interesting.
So
it was probably how old's your son?
He's 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say it's probably something to do with Aaron Rodgers, but like if he's 6, he's just
now into it. Yeah, I mean, like it happened last season. I mean, when they were playing the 49ers in the NFC, was that the NFC Championship?
Mm-hmm.
It was the biggest game that kid's ever watched in his life.
No, it was the divisional round.
Divisional round, yeah.
They played the Lions.
That's right.
It's the brand new Lions. Yeah. How about old MCDC? I'm trying to get Steve. I'm trying to get Steve to just latch on to the Lions and just go full Detroit
Yeah.
in his all his sports. Like, I don't think he'll ever like hockey, but if we can get him
Who
on
is
the
his NFL team?
Saints.
The Saints.
Ugh.
He's from
But
South.
he loves Tua though, too. So he lost Miami a little bit.
He's a big Tua fan, so I've been trying to get him to convert. Like, I'm like this close to converting over to the Titans. I'm not all the way there. I like the Titans. I would consider myself a Titans fan, but like I've got co-fandom now because I grew up a Falcons fan, and I just can't let go of that all of a sudden.
Well, see, we're from Alabama, so we don't have a pro team in our state. All the surrounding states, besides Mississippi, have a team, and now, so as a kid, I was like, well, I'm going to follow the Alabama players. Well, now every NFL team's got an Alabama player,
Right?
So it's just I don't know. As a little kid, it's crazy. I love the Packers because of Brett Favre, and then I was a real big Steve McNair fan, so I liked the Oilers or the Titans when I was a kid, and so I've always liked those two teams, I guess, growing up. But I wouldn't say I'm just a real true fan of any NFL team. I don't know. I need to pick one.
Yeah,
maybe we can spend this season picking a team to get behind. But it's NFL fandom is kind of hard. Like, if you didn't have a team as a kid, it's kind of hard to latch on.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't. That's why the Titans haven't really caught on for me yet, because I grew up in Atlanta,
Right?
And I was always watching the Falcons. I was always rooting for the Falcons, even though prime and all that stuff. So
the Birmingham Stallions, we do have those, and they are dominating. Whatever was the UFL, whatever it's called now.
They need to be the 32nd NFL team as good as they are right now. Good night.
Stacy, where are you living at these days? Are you still in?
Yeah, I'm in North Alabama.
Alabama. So like Birmingham, still.
45 minutes north of Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about 25 miles from Huntsville.
Okay.
Me and Stacey live about 10 minutes from each other.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hartselle, is that what it is?
Yeah, Hartselle. Yep.
Yep. I am thoughtful, a little south, but yep.
Somebody, I was at the lake this weekend, and somebody said something about Hartselle, Alabama, and I immediately thought of you, Jake.
Oh, really?
I immediately thought of you, and I cannot remember what the context of it was now.
Huh.
What lake were you at?
Center Hill.
Okay. I don't know anybody that would go up there.
I don't know either.
They weren't there. It was somebody they knew they were talking about that is either living in Hartselle or from Hartselle, Alabama.
That's wild. Small world.
It is.
Yeah. Like,
it is. Very small world.
It's like Jake. It's like Jake is from there. That's why I know Hartselle, Alabama. They were like, yeah, it's over by Coleman. It's like,
yeah,
like,
it's near Coleman.
Somebody, I cannot for the life of me think of the
O'Brien's. Yeah, Rick. Yes, I love O'Brien's.
Speaking of O'Brien, you think BC's going to be any good?
No.
Bill Bryan.
No.
To his credit, I feel like he's been a better head coach than coordinator. Which I really shouldn't say that. Bryce Young won the freaking Heisman Trophy when he was the OC. So I mean,
right.
I
don't know.
Bryce Young won. He won despite Bill O'Brien. It just shows you the vast differences in the NFL and college. Honestly,
yeah.
I think he's a good NFL coordinator because everything's like systematic in the NFL.
Right.
Everything, like, you have so much more time with these guys. There's probably more checks and more like layers to the playbook that you can get to in the NFL that you don't have time for in college. And everything's probably wordy. Concepts are more difficult. Like, any of these NFL coordinators that come down always struggle.
I will say, if he was at the Patriots, for a couple of years, I think Mac Jones will still be the quarterback. because Matt Patricia is a glorified defense coordinator, and he was an offense coordinator for a couple years.
That was the single weirdest
Yeah,
move I've
that
ever seen in
was.
my life.
It made no sense.
That was the weirdest move. But it seems like they got some things rolling now with Gerard Mayo. I'm
Yeah,
for him.
I like him. He's a good young guy coming up. I'm really excited to see what they do.
Well,
Dude, I
and
bet you guys-
Matt seems to be living his best life back in his hometown of Jacksonville right now, too.
Right.
As
yeah.
the backup quarterback to Trevor Lawrence. Like, if you see him on social media, he's like having the time of his life down there.
Absolutely.
He's getting paid. He's not getting any of the pressure. You got Trevor Lawrence in front of you, who's going to get hurt at some point.
Right.
Probably.
yeah.
He's living the best life. But I bet you guys are stoked for D'Amico Ryans.
Dude.
Yes.
See, that's another team I want to pull for because of D'Amico.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry for me. I can't because I'm a Titans fan.
See,
He
Jake's a better NFL fan than I am.
He makes it easy to root for Houston.
He does.
I never thought I'd want to root for Houston.
He just
they're
seems like a likable guy.
They're just the meh franchise for a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They were just the mid franchise.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mid uniforms, just mid everything. Now they're explosive.
Mhm. They got a lot of talent now.
Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins finally healthy. They got Joe Mixon
Mhm.
now. CJ Stroud obviously was a home run draft pick there. Defensively, they're loaded. JJ Watt's going to come back.
9,000 years old.
Yeah. He'll probably play one game and get hurt for the rest of the season.
He's going to sign a 1-game contract probably. He's gonna be
Pretty
like,
much. Yeah.
He just wants to get one more snap, really. And if they play the Steelers, he'll come back for that game so he can play against his brother.
Right.
If
If
he's
his
not
brother's
hurt.
if he's not hurt.
Yeah, I don't
Something about
understand.
them white boys. They just
They get so jacked up, man. They can't. They're held together by duct tape and bubble gum, man.
pretty much.
Like the Bosa's fall apart.
Yeah.
TJ Watt,
Right. Yeah.
Watt, JJ Watt.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Houston's a franchise I love to. I would like to see continue to improve. Really, like you said, they've been like in the bottom tier of the NFL for years now.
And they'd have spurts. They had
Right.
a couple spurts under Bill O'Brien. When he took over as GM, that's when they went downhill because he's not.
They traded their best player for nothing.
Yeah, he admits he was on with Adam Brenneman,
Mhm.
and he admitted he goes, "When I took over GM, I shouldn't have taken over GM."
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think he'll do well at Boston College. He did well at Penn State as a head coach.
He did.
Yeah.
I think he's biding his time until he can get back in the NFL.
For sure.
But yeah, man. I'll root for Houston as long as they're not playing the Titans.
Well, that's twice a year, 4 times a year in the conference. Can't remember.
And the reason I'm rooting for him is because I have Nico Collins and Tank Dell on my dynasty team. So I don't care if they win or lose. I just want them to score a lot of points.
Right.
I think they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I want them to score a lot of points. Colts are like sneaky good too.
Yeah.
We'll see what Anthony Richardson looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, he came out of the gate strong, but I think he's going to be somebody that gets hurt a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
some guys are just like that. It's crazy.
And then Will Levis, we'll see what he's got. I know Jake, you hated that pick, but he's not bad, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot on there to be judged. There's still a lot.
I have a problem with people putting mayonnaise in their coffee. I just have a problem with it. That's just absolutely nasty.
Yeah, that is that's not good. Not good at all.
But hey, if he changes that franchise around, the Titans have had issues with quarterbacks in the past. We drafted Jake Locker and he become a buzz. Marcus Mariota
He was a running back.
Yeah. Mariota was really good, but he was just injury prone as well. We just hadn't had I feel like a consistent quarterback since Steve McNair.
Tannehill's been it.
You're right.
Tannehill's been the steady one.
Yeah, I ain't really sold on him either.
Well, I mean, Stacy After Dark. This
Mhm.
is a miracle.
Mhm.
Stacy's
Yes.
like, hey, my face is red. I've been at baseball tournaments the entire summer. I'm lucky I'm still standing right now.
Yeah. And working 5 days a week. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Y'all work together too?
No.
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 What do you do?
I don't know if
Stacy?
I don't know if I could handle Jake that much.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot to handle.
It is a lot to handle.
Yeah.
It's like everything else, moderation. In moderation.
Yeah. Moderation.
What's next on Tide Talk Live? What's going on there?
We're fisting to get to our kind of our position breakdowns,
Mhm.
for both offensively and defensively. A lot of fun there because there's some new faces, obviously, like there is every year. But I think, familiar faces as well. When you think about Jalen Milroe and you think about, Tyler Booker and Jaden Roberts on the offensive line, and you think defensively, you still got Malachi Moore, Deontay Lawson, Jahad Campbell. So there's, Tim Keenan on the defensive front. There's still a lot of guys, that kind of make up the nucleus of that team, the leadership of that team. And I think they've kind of taken the whole transition from Saban to DeBoer kind of, I don't want to say personal, but they've kind of taken it upon themselves, the leadership of this team, to say, hey, we want to be known as the guys who kept it going post Saban.
Right.
And I think those guys have shown incredible leadership, and I'm really excited about the season and this kind of new era of Alabama football.
There'll be an adjustment period, I think. Just getting used to Kalen DeBoer, getting used to the league and getting used to, like, this is the best roster he's ever stepped into.
Right.
I think he's a phenomenal coach, though. I don't think that learning curve will be very steep or very long. I think it's going to, I think he'll kind of get in there. But, like, is like 10-2 going to be storm the gates for Alabama?
I think that's what kind of most people are thinking. That is a realistic, and I would be fine with 10-2.
I'm fine with 10-2, and I can see 11-1 as well.
Because, like, Alabama still is Alabama. Like, I was looking at, I was like, this guy's like, Kalen DeBoer was in the national championship last year, and last I checked, Alabama, they still have 4- and 5-star players.
Yeah, I mean, they still have a top 5 roster. I still think they have a top 5 coaching staff. So I mean, from the top down. So I mean, my expectation is they'll be among one of the best teams in college football.
Yeah, they'll be in the playoff for sure.
I think DeBoer is going to be kind of mesmerized that first game in Bryant-Denny, because he's used to only seeing about 40,000 fans. There's going to be 100,000, and then there's going to be probably 200,000 can get in the stadium on the outside.
He talked about A-Day, how he's he's not even coached a regular season game like what was at A-Day. So that part will be new to him for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming Weagle 10 is Kaysen. Is that Kaysen, Jake?
I think it is.
There is a shade, Kaysen. You're just going to have to suffer.
There's not much shade in Oxford.
It's blazing hot down there.
Yeah.
Over there, or actually say over there.
Over there, yep.
Due west of you guys in it. So, yeah, man, that's going to be interesting. He's going to be in for some culture shock when he walks in the stadium. August 31st, it's blazing hot. And
it's a night game, too, because it's 6 o'clock. So
it's going to be super humid, hot at kickoff. There's going to be 100,000 people in the stadium waving their pom-poms.
Yep.
Singing Dixieland Delight because they finally got it back.
Yeah.
Like, is that the official trophy of the third Saturday in October now? The winner gets Dixieland Delight for the year.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
It is. Yep.
I think that should. So we need to talk to both ADs, and we need to arrange that. If you win, you get Dixieland Delight that year.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose, you can't do Dixieland Delight for a year. And if you do Dixieland Delight, you forfeit it for the rest of time.
Oh, wow.
You never get it back. So
that is so fun. That is so fun in the stadium.
It is.
What, I've never been to a game at Georgia. What's kind of their thing?
Yeah.
Let's see. The the fourth quarter, Krypton. Now with cell phones and cameras, they do light up Sanford. So like on a night game, they shut the lights, and then all these phones go up, and then they play Krypton. You do yourself a favor and YouTube that. It's a treat. And they took over Notre Dame Stadium with that too. It's pretty crazy. They have the battle hymn at the beginning where they had the lone trumpet player in the up northwest corner of the stadium, and they play the battle hymn, and then they play highlights. That's pretty cool. They play Babbo O'Reilly right before kickoff, and then for the most part, it's just freaking rowdy.
Interesting.
My goal is to, before I die, is to visit every SEC stadium for a conference matchup.
Well, I don't think Alabama's ever going to play at Sanford Stadium ever again. I think the SEC is just like, nope, you're not playing there.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like almost 10. I guess it has been 10 years, hasn't it?
It's been 10 years.
Was it 2015?
It's been 10 years, and we've played two, and we will have played 2 conference games in that stretch, both at Alabama.
Right.
Yeah, I thought for sure that it would be in Athens this year.
I did too, because
I really did.
It should be, honestly,
because 2020 was at Alabama, and now 2024 is at Alabama.
I guess they looked at Alabama's schedule and was like, well, they already got to go to Oklahoma, to Tennessee, to LSU.
I mean, I get it. Hey, yes, Cassidy. That is very true.
Yeah,
Georgia
I think. Yeah, that's. I mean, I remember, and I know poor Vandy. Man, you turn on any Vandy home game, especially against against Alabama or Georgia,
Tennessee.
They have just overtaken the stadium.
The last Vandy game I went to, it was like that. Like the entire stadium was red. I was like, what the hell?
We went to Nashville for the Alabama at Vanderbilt basketball game this last year, and I mean it was probably 60 or 70% Alabama fans at the basketball game.
And that
court is so weird.
That doesn't usually happen at Memorial too. Vandy fans have. That was. Like
I was a little surprised. Yeah, I was a little surprised when it was like that.
But then again, there's not been much to watch Vandy basketball. But again, you want to talk overhaul? They've overhauled too. Like
who was their coach? I've done forgot.
Mark Byington.
Where was he at?
The guy that hired James Madison.
That's right. That's right.
They were in the NCAA tournament, and they literally. I don't think they have a single player from last year's team.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Hey, they had a freshman last year that I thought was a really good player. He kind of had a strange name.
Vin Allen Lubin.
Say that again?
Vin Allen Lubin.
That sounds right. Yeah.
He transferred to North Carolina.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, he was a pretty good player.
He was I don't think Stackhouse used him properly.
I agree.
He didn't catch his groove until really late in the season.
No.
Oh, dang! 2 minutes.
Dang, we're a little 30 seconds behind. But
I know. Thank you, Cassidy. Yeah, Athens is a great college town. So anyway, thank you for listening to this iteration of SEC After Dark. We hope you enjoyed what you like, or we hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Find us all on social media at Coach Burton36, at Jake Thomas TTS, at Blackwood89. If you want to, this is 100% of Tide Talk Live right here on the screen. So make sure you check out their show if you want a really good Alabama show. If you're not listening to their show, you're doing it wrong. So you can find me a little bit of everywhere. I cover both ends of the spectrum in the SEC. Georgia on one end, Vandy on the other. Hopefully Vandy goes up on that spectrum a little bit. I think they will.
All the emotions every Saturday.
Yeah, I got the big range of emotions. Yeah, I know, but I got but Georgia gave me the little piece of paper that said I've completed enough college credits to be considered a college graduate. So that's priority number one. So, but at Coach Burton 36, you can find me there. And then obviously Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss, and Jeb. Well, he's just a guy. So
pretty much.
Or is he? Does he even exist?
That's a good point.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Good question.
Because he misses a lot.
He does. He just vanishes into
He
the.
does. Yeah.
He is a sweet Ole Miss studio though,
He does. Yeah.
and then occasionally when he goes home, he gets locked up.
Yeah.
He has to do the show from Rutherford County Detention Center, but
Yeah.
you know who we kidding. But anyway,
Yeah.
Casey, thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next week, though, right?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready now.
And then
Absolutely.
we'll see you in the pick segment as well. He's going to be active in that. So with that being said, we are SEC After Dark. Check us out, presented by Dead Soxy, Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, and betonline.ag. We thank you for watching. We thank you for listening. Check us back out next week and beyond. And until then, go Dogs, anchor down.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Boiler up.
Hotty toddy.